I would like to say good morning to the people of God on this morning. Um, I'm gonna do something kind of different this morning. I'm gonna actually kind of break down some of my Facebook statuses, some of the scriptures that I put on Facebook the last couple of days because these have really God has really been dropping these scriptures in my spirit and they were for me. Um, but one thing the Bible tells us. Is that our brothers and sisters all over the world are going through the same thing. So with me understanding that, I know that there are others who need God to encourage them, or just maybe need confirmation from God about some situations in their lives. And that's what I want to do with this video. And I'm going to start in Job chapter 13, verse 15. Job was at the point where he had lost everything. You know what I'm saying? The the enemy Satan stood before God and told God that the only reason why Job uh, worshipped and praised him like he did was because of the things that God had given him. And God, knowing the hearts of his servants, he knew that that wasn't true. But to prove Satan uh, to himself that he is the father of all lies, he told Satan, "Go ahead, I'll let you test Job. And I guarantee you, he won't fall. He won't turn his back." So he let the enemy test Job. So Job lost his children. He lost his livestock. He lost his wife. He lost his house. He lost everything. And during that period, his friends came and they would try to comfort him and say different things to him, even to the point of telling him that he did something wrong. But when you look at the beginning of the text, God said that he was a righteous man. The word of God said Job was a righteous man, which lets us know what his disposition was as it relates to God. The thing about it is, when you have people on the outside who really don't understand the will of God for your life, they will judge you. People will put their mouths on you because they don't understand what God is really trying to do in your life. So you have to be careful who you share things with first. Job said, "Though he slay me, yet will I trust him. But I will maintain mine own ways before him." And that's an awesome verse because we get these a lot of these preachers they preach that God is gonna do it and you're gonna have a house and you're gonna get the car and the money is gonna fall and this and that. But Job is coming from a standpoint of, okay, he's afflicting me and I still trust him. Okay, he's coming from the standpoint of almost like the three Hebrew boys. Even if he doesn't deliver us, he's still God. He's still sovereign. And this is the mindset that the people of God have to get into. The Bible tells us in Job 23, in the 23rd verse, the 23rd chapter, I forget the verse, that man born of woman is but of a few days and full of trouble. That's a promise from the word of God. You know what I'm saying? So we can't hold on to uh, these words saying we're gonna get this and we're gonna get this material that when the word of God tells us that man born of a woman is but of a few days and full of trouble. That should get our mindset prepared to come across some attacks from the enemy. There's no way we're gonna walk righteous and upright in this world that hates God and hates everything godly and everything righteous. There's no way we're gonna walk in this world seeking to obtain the righteousness of God and not have the things of this world come against us. This is why things are so hard for people who really desire to live upright and live righteous. Things are hard because you stepped out of the mindset of trying to obtain worldly wealth, and now you're beginning to plan your heavenly wealth. You're beginning to store your treasures in the heavens because we know that when we store our treasures in heaven, they can't be stolen. They won't rust. They won't decay. They'll be perfectly preserved for us once we reach this place. So the world knows that our sights are set on a higher place now, and they try to do everything that they can. The world, not necessarily people, but the enemies of this world, the enemy of this world tries to do whatever he can to bring us to a fallen state. That's why the Bible tells us he comes to steal, kill, and destroy. What that means is anything he can do to cause you to give up your salvation, to cause you to hand over your promises of God, he's gonna do. And the thing is, he sends people. Not he doesn't do it himself. He sends people, or he sends his imps, because the enemy is not omnipresent. He can't be everywhere at one time. Only God can do that. So the enemy will send different things your way. He'll send people to test you, to try to pull you off your square, and cause you to snap out or go off on somebody, or reply back to someone who you felt said something offensive to you. He'll cause you to do that to get you to fall, so you'll be sitting right there with him. But we have to really, really stand on the word of God in this hour. And yesterday, I don't share a lot of things that go on with me personally in my life with a lot of people, because I don't seek attention, on different aspects of my life when I'm going through, and when I have different issues going on. I just turn to the word. And that's why you see I begin to flood my page with the word, because the word sustains me. I can read the word of God in one of my darkest and dimmest situations and feel so much joy that I mean, it's crazy. But I'm gonna say, yesterday I had to go to the emergency room, and I've been dealing with kidney stones for about 2 years, since 2010. And I went to the emergency room, and they ended up admitting me. They ended up keeping me. So right then, I just started talking to God instantly, because he's already proven to me that he hears my prayers. I've prayed things, and God has manifested them in my life, like yesterday, like instantly. So I began to talk to God, and I told God, I just keep my mind and keep my heart in this situation, because has been an ongoing thing, to the point of major surgeries. They early this year, they went in through my back into the kidney to get stones out. You know what I'm saying? I walked around with a tube in my back for a couple weeks, about a week. So, the enemy has been trying to do everything he can to discourage me. But the thing is, as long as I have access to the word of God, uh, there's no discouraging me, because there are words in the Bible, in the word of God, that God has specifically put in there for his people for specific times and seasons. That's why sometimes we can read things in the Bible and it not really move us. But then when we're in a season, a certain season, or we're going through a certain thing, we can read that same verse, and that thing will send us off running, because it shifts our spirit so much, to the point where that thing was personal. That verse was personal to us. And this is where I was yesterday. So the whole time I'm sitting in the hospital, he was just hitting me with different scriptures, hitting me with different words that from the Bible, that really just it took my faith and my reverence to a whole nother place, to the point where I just wanted to walk around my floor and start praying for people. You know what I'm saying? But I couldn't really walk, because what I was in there for. So I say that to say this word is foundational. You know what I'm saying? We need to really understand what God was trying to say in the book of Job. We can't lean on these material things. We can't lean on the things of this world and expect to 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 really be focused on our walk with God, because you can't straddle the fence. You know what I'm saying? You can't walk in righteousness and godliness and still walk with the world and still love the things of the world. Now, don't get me wrong. Uh, I'm not telling anybody to give up anything as it relates to tangible possessions. But what I'm saying is we cannot exalt those things to the point where they will cause us to turn our backs on God, where we begin to worship our cars and our houses and our spouses and our kids. We begin to exalt our kids above God, the giver of the kids, the giver of a house, the giver of the cars. We can't get ourselves to the point where we exalt these things so high that God is nowhere in our lives anymore. And this is why certain people, they get up so high and then they fall, because they begin to get prideful and they begin to exalt everything that they have. So God will allow the enemy to come in and touch you, to blow on you, just to shake you up a little bit, to see where you really are in your faith. Now, we have to understand that sometimes he'll use the closest person to you to to offend you, or to wrong you, or just to hurt you, just so you can really see uh what this thing is all about. Not necessarily to break that friendship or that relationship, but to bring your understanding of that person a little closer, and for you to begin to really lean on God, because God is the foundation of any real relationship. I mean, you can have friends for 30 or 40 years. You go out every day, you fight in the clubs together, but anything you do in God will last. Anything that's not of God, it's not going to last. It'll never stand. Not the test of time anyway. So God will separate you from people and things to bring you to a place where he needs you to be. And we all have experienced that in our lives. So I just wanted to touch on that a little bit, because we get so caught up when our bills don't get paid, and something gets cut off, our car gets repossessed, our house gets foreclosed. You hear people killing themselves over relationships because a lady wants to leave them. Just recently we had this football player that killed this girl and himself, and that's ludicrous. That's you know, I mean, God will restore it. That's what God will restore, everything that the enemy has devoured. He proved it in the book of Job. When Job was done, when God felt that it was enough, Job had went through enough, and he'd proven himself. God gave him double for his trouble. He restored everything double. And this is what we forget about these things. We go through so much stuff in this walk, that we forget about the promise on the end. And this is what sways people. This is what causes people to fall and go back out into the world. We get the promise and we dance and we shout for that minute or two, but as soon as something happens, a month or two later, after we receive the word, we forget all about the word. We forget all about the word of God, what the word of God says, that he'll never leave us or forsake us. We forget about all of that. And we begin to waver in our faith, and we begin to fall because things don't really look like what we feel they should look like. But that's the thing. We focus too much on what's in front of us, the natural things, and that God is trying to call us to a higher place in our thinking, a higher understanding in our thinking. And sometimes a lot of us, we're still stuck in the world. We're trying to live double lives. We're trying to walk right before God, and we're trying to impress the world. We're trying to look like we've accomplished things in the world. And you know, one thing, I prayed is God, I told God from my heart, I really don't care about money. I really don't care about houses and cars and things like that. I told God this from my heart. And you know what he did? I ended up getting sick and being off work, not getting paid, not getting checks coming in, no sick leave, no annual leave, vacation time, none of that. So no money coming in. And you know what he did? He reminded me of that prayer. So you know what I did? I cracked that Bible open and I really broke down the word. And when I tell you nothing was cut off, we didn't, our refrigerator stayed full. We kept food in the house because he proved to me that your job, that's not your resource. That's not the source. That's just a resource. But your God, I'm the source. Everything flows from me. So he let me know. So when you see me post all of these things, all of these statuses, this is not stuff that just randomly comes out. These are things that I'm experiencing in my life, and I'm sharing them with the people of God, because a lot of the people on here, I grew up with y'all. You know what I'm saying? I went to school with a lot of y'all. Some of y'all I met through other people. But the thing is, I have to continue to be transparent so that you can see that everything in my life ain't rosy. You know what I'm saying? When I'm saying I got joy, it's not because everything is going good. It's because God's presence is in my life so heavy that I can't be heavily burdened by what's going on. I can't be and not still say I trust God. There's no way. The two don't match. Fear and faith can't walk together. Doubt and faith can't walk together. So I choose faith. I choose faith with all my heart. So I don't care what it looks like. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what the bills say. You know what I'm saying? I've been homeless with my family. You know what I'm saying? I've been out there in the streets. You know, I've hustled. I've been shot at. I've been shot at. I've shot at people. You know what I'm saying? I've hustled. I've done everything. And those that know me know that anything I put out here is the truth. I'm not going to sugarcoat nothing. So I say this to say, no matter what things look like around you, remember what God says. I will never leave you nor forsake you. And the word Job said was, men born of a woman is but of a few days and full of trouble. That's a promise. That's a promise. Full of trouble. So we're going to come across a lot of things. But I need y'all to understand, beloved, that God is in the midst of all of it. Nothing is going to happen without God ordaining it. There's no way. There's no way. But what he needs us to get is the power that rests on the inside of us. The Spirit of God. And if we allow that to rise up, there's nothing that this old world can throw at us that can get us down. Now, it doesn't feel good. We definitely not going to be happy walking around in it, but it can't keep us down. We all fall. We all get weary. We all get tired. Sometimes doubt tries to come in, and doubt will try to take us to a different place that's contrary to the word of God, that's contrary to what we constantly preach to other people. But I made it my goal in this walk to practice everything that I preach. So I can't encourage some of y'all when you inbox me and message me and tell you, oh, just stand on the promises of God. Oh, God is going to do it. I believe God is going to do it when I'm not doing it. That's a hypocrite. That's a hypocrite. So when I'm going through, I'm practicing what I'm preaching, and that's why I'm giving it in so much zeal. That's why I have so much intensity about the word of God, because I'm walking this thing out verse by verse. And this thing is really changing my understanding on me. You know what I'm saying? God is showing me and my weaknesses. You know, he can show me other people all day, but until I really receive my own weaknesses, what he's showing me about me, I'll never be effective as it relates to encouraging others, because I won't know how they'll feel. I won't be able to relate to them. So I have to look at my own weaknesses first and begin to have God strengthen me, or at least grace me to deal with my weaknesses. Paul asked God 3 times to remove something that was afflicting him, a thorn in his flesh, and God didn't do it. God let him keep that. And sometimes God will to keep us humble. But he told Paul, my grace is sufficient. Where Paul was weak, God was made strong. He was made strong through the grace of God. So we have to stop leaning on our own abilities. So I'm gonna pretty much just close that out. But I just wanted to share that this morning. This morning while I'm sitting at home with this tube in my uterine tube between my kidney and my bladder, and I still got joy even though I'm walking around the house bent over. Love and need you. Pray for me as I pray for you. Later.